Today is Monday, June 1st. Welcome to this edition of Nevada County Now. Today's episode, we're talking wildfire drills, recycling buyback, podcasting, and more. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Nevada County Now. I'm your host, Cole Pettit. Our top story tonight. Yesterday, CAL FIRE, among other firefighting agencies, participated in a wildland urban interface drill east of Nevada City. This drill was to allow firefighters to practice different parts of their job, from rescue scenarios to laying hose. Andrew Rowland, co-producer of this show, was able to tag along with Engine 2382 to film the drill.
Start with that. So what's the first thing that we're doing?
We're going to go to handline construction. So we're going to gear up here and hike over to our starting point time with our proctor, and then we'll be constructing some handline as our first training.
What's a handline?
Handline is scraping the dirt down to bare mineral soil to make a break between the fire and the unburned fuel. So you usually go around the fire edge to prevent the fire spread. So we were starting with a handline operation that quickly changed to a rescue operation. So they threw a little kink in our plan, and we ended up having to do a low-angle rope system to extricate an injured firefighter off the side of the hill.
When you go up, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Do you remember what it is? You find the middle? Woody. Alright, jump back.
So it was a change in plans, but it was a successful training.
What we did is called a progressive hose lay, and so the idea is to create a continuous wet line, the wet line being a line of wet ground, wet material. And so towards that we start with one hose, good as far as we can. We knock it down ahead of us, helping our wet line, helping take the heat out of the fire. Then we clamp the hose, disconnect the nozzle, and basically put another stick in there, charge the hose again, proceed, and then just repeat. And depending upon the topography, if we're going uphill, might have to have the engine pump higher pressure just because we're losing pressure. If we're going downhill, we might have to have them drop pressure because gravity is going to be assisting us at that point.
Gotcha. How much hose was laid just now?
I believe 1,100 feet?
We did 1,100, but we did it 2 times.
Cleared the Canyonway
Yeah,
corridor.
1,100 feet.
UCL.
Cool.
Thor, where you at? Thor! John, you in? No. Come on, Pennington. Come on, Kelly in. Pennington, get down. Good deal.
Thanks to all the firefighters for allowing us to film this event and for all your hard work to keep us safe. As we continue the process of reopening, it can be a bit confusing when there is guidance from multiple different agencies and governments. In an effort to combat this confusion, Nevada County released a statement to clarify the situation. It said in part the statewide order has not been lifted and Nevada County, like all California counties, remains under the statewide order. Nevada County is pursuing an ambitious and aggressive pace to reopen as quickly and safely as possible. Under the statewide order, business sectors are allowed to reopen only after the state has posted the guidance online at covid19.ca.gov and after the local health officer has approved reopening the sector. Certain sectors are able to reopen statewide and others are only able to open in counties like Nevada that have met variance criteria. The state expects to be sharing new guidelines sometime this week. Public Health will continue to remain in contact with state officials to be in the lead of counties reopening safely. If you are a business owner with specific questions about reopening, email COVID-19 recovery at co.nevada.ca.us. Local information is available at mynevadacounty.com/coronavirus. The Recycling Buyback Center at the McCourtney Road Transfer Station will reopen this Wednesday, June 3rd. Customers will be able to access the buyback center from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Wednesday through Sunday. However, they must sort their items beforehand and wear a mask while on site. Customers must sort CRV glass by color, brown, green, and clear, plastics by number, along with aluminum and light tin. They should remove caps from all containers. Additionally, customers must remain in their vehicles unless directed by staff, have their recycling in a pickup bed or unlocked trunk, and lower their car window by no more than 3 inches when talking with staff. These rules have been put in place to minimize direct contact between employees and customers at the McCourtney Road Transfer Station. The transfer station continues to accept trash, green waste, commingled recycling, household hazardous waste, and metals. Customers are encouraged to visit wm.com/alerts for detailed and up-to-date information about closures in their area. Since the beginning of the pandemic, many of us have been indoors with much more free time than usual. While some of us have been spending this time watching entirely too much Netflix and consuming copious amounts of treats, put myself in this category, a few people have been finding new ways to channel their creative drive. The duo of Annabella Funk and Mia Coffin are in the latter category, having started a comedy podcast entitled Dating When the World Is Gonna End. I got a chance to talk with half of this duo, Annabella Funk, to find out how it started and where it might be going. So I'm joined today by Annabella Funk, the co-creator and co-host of the comedy podcast Dating When the World Is Going to End. How are you doing today, Annabella?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, of course. So for those viewers who may not be familiar with your podcast, can you tell us a little bit about what it's about?
Sure. So I started a podcast with my best friend, Mia, and it's a dating and relationships podcast during the COVID-19 pandemic. So how does one date when one can't be close? That's essentially what we're trying to figure out.
Gotcha. And so what prompted you to do a podcast at this point in time?
Well, honestly, Cole, we kind of had a lot of time on our hands. So that was part of it. And the other thing was that I've always listened to podcasts with my best friend. And so we decided to launch one of our own. And we really never had the time until now. So that's a bit about why. I think another reason is that we decided to make it a comedy podcast because there's so much going on in this world that's so hard. And so having a little bit of laughter and a little bit of something to be able to brighten people's days was something we wanted to really try and do.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a great goal. You know, we could all use a little bit of a laugh every now and again.
Definitely.
So what about the subject matter? Why dating specifically? What was it that drew you to that?
Well, I feel like for the first time in history, faced with a very new kind of dating, and that's how do you date when you can't be in the same room with somebody, and how do you date during quarantine? And of course now places are starting to open up, and it's a matter of like, what does dating look like throughout that, and how do you socially distance date somebody? So that's been really what we're trying to explore.
And you've had guests from even all over the world, so far as India and some different people. How are you going about getting these guests, and what is it that's drawing everybody together?
Well, it's been a combination of different things. We have actually a pretty growing fan base of our podcast, and we were lucky enough to get contacted by incredible people around the world who want to be on and want to tell their stories. And one of the girls was my roommate back when I lived in India. So during the pandemic, when the pandemic hit, I was working as a filmmaker in India, and I had a roommate. And then when I came back to the United States, I asked her if she wanted to be on the podcast. And it's a really interesting perspective because she talks about not only what dating's like in India during the pandemic, but what dating is like as a woman in India in general. So we were really lucky to have her on the show.
Yeah, that's got to be fascinating. Just a completely different perspective from sort of our Western view of what it's like and what people go through.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've had a lot of different types of people on the podcast, and we've had a lot of different stories. And I think I was honestly expecting Cole to have a lot more horror stories than we've had. Because when you first start talking to like newlywed couples who are for the first time trapped in a room together, or couples who both usually are at work and are now like working in the same tiny 1-bedroom apartment in San Francisco. That's another couple that was on the podcast. And actually, for the most part, I've seen that there seems to just be an increase in connection and love and growth. So it's been really wonderful.
Well, that's great, because like with you, I would have somewhat suspected a few more horror stories and bad things to come from it, but that's really encouraging that maybe it's not.
Well, there certainly are those, but we've been lucky enough to hear about the good stories so far.
Gotcha. Well, great. So what do things start to look like for you guys now? I mean, you sort of based it around this sort of COVID thing, and now that hopefully things are moving away from that, are you planning to continue to do the podcast, and then does the subject matter change at all?
Cool. I'm so glad you asked me that. Actually, absolutely. So we have a theme song at the beginning of our every episode, which is "Dating When the World Is Gonna End." Ding. And we have this amazing music composer, Evan Rashby, who did all of the music for the show. He's also a local artist. And we're changing the theme song to "Dating When the World Is Opening Up." And I think that pretty much sums it up. We're going to continue to explore, what does dating look like when the world's opening up? And how does that change the dating experience?
Gotcha. Okay, great. So how can people find your podcast, assuming they would like to listen to it?
So you can find our podcast anywhere that you find podcasts. So we are available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or on our website, which is lockitdownproductions.com. And then we are also on Instagram at Lock It Down Productions.
All right. Anything else you'd like people to know?
I think that about sums it up. But I'd just like to say that I am so grateful to have this opportunity to talk about a little bit of something and share people's experience in these trying times. And I think more than anything, we're just trying to explore the concept of, how does one stay connected when we can't be close?
Yeah. All right. Well, perfect. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thank you so much, Cole. It was great to be on the show.
Thanks for talking with me, Annabella. Again, if you'd like to listen to their podcast, it can be found on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts. And if you want more information or to support the podcast, visit their website, lockitdownproductions.com. We'll leave you this evening with a look at the Car Hop event that took place this weekend. Remember, this event will be happening every weekend except July 4th until July 26th. Stay safe. Take care of each other. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey everyone, Amy Urani, your Environmental Health Director, out here today at the TFF Car Hop event. And what we have out here today is we've got 4 food vendors for you. They're going to be cooking up some good food. So we've got Kaliko's Hawaiian Kitchen, we've got Sherry's Hand Dipped Ice Cream, We've got Sierra Savories with bento boxes, and we've got Sundance Catering. So come on out, support your local businesses. It's our car hop event, so stay in your car, order some good food. We'll be here every Saturday and Sunday, starting today, every weekend from 11 to 3. So come out and support your businesses and join us for some fun.
Hey, good afternoon. It's Heidi Hall, your Board of Supervisors Chair here in Nevada County, and I'm down at the Car Hop, the first day of the Car Hop, and I thought I'd come down to support it and get some lunch. There are 4 different booths with lunch and desserts. It looks great. It's really easy to come in here. You park, you just stay in your car. I'm out of my car just to do this little video. And we'll be down here. Amy Arani, our Environmental Health Department head, did all of this with help with a bunch of volunteers, and we'll be down here through end of July, or on the weekend. So I think it's every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 p.m. So come on down and support our food trucks. So part of this is that these folks bring their food trucks to events. So while our restaurants are reopening, there really isn't a place for our food trucks to get a chance to make a living. So this will help bring them all down, give them a place to sell their food, and you could come down and support them and get some good food. Come on down. Thank you.